Welcome to the Double Dribble Podcast with Dubin and Dakil. That's Jared Dubin, author of Last Night in Basketball. I'm Mo Dakil, former video coordinator with the Clippers, Spurs, Team Australia, do videos on offsides. You're going to find me on NBA TV this season, starting this weekend. Make sure you're checking that stuff out. Follow me on all the socials. Follow Jared on all the socials. Let's do all of that fun stuff. But most importantly, subscribe to this podcast. 5-star reviews. Watch us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Give us all the likes, all that stuff. Make sure you're doing all that fun stuff. Jared, how are you doing?
I'm a little tired. First night of the season. I mistimed my espresso shot, so by the end of the second game, I was dragging a little bit. But I'm feeling good this morning.
I feel like you'll calibrate properly in when to take the espresso shot. I might take like a few games because there's going to be a night where you take it too late and you're going to be wired all night.
Oh yeah, I'll do a better job tonight. I think these are 7 and 9:30 games with the Knicks, Cavs, and Mavs, Spurs. So can do a little bit of a better job tonight.
Just also heads up, people, because I know we get all this is the main review we get is Mo sniffling. Well, I got news for you guys. I got a cold over the weekend because, of course, opening day was coming, so I had to get sick. There's going to be sniffling on this podcast. I promise you, nobody is more annoyed about it than me. And after me, it's Jared, because it's right in his ears when I'm sniffling. So everybody, please, I understand, I'm trying to get better with it. I'll do my best to mute. I'll do my best not to sniffle. But sometimes the brother's got to breathe. And that's sort of what has to happen in that instance. So I apologize in advance of that. No need to leave a review about that.
Just got to fight through it. That's people should be happy that you're fighting through it.
It is. I felt it coming, Jared, and I was just like, man, this is an absolute killer. But I don't even want to get into it. We got a lot to talk about off of just the 2 games last night. And I want to start with this. I was running errands in LA and made a whole point, rushed home to make sure I was in front of my TV at 3:30. And let me tell you, I didn't even realize how hard it would hit. But when that NBA on NBC round ball rock hit, that was right in the veins, baby. Right in the veins. I loved every second of it. Goosebumps, all of that stuff. Did you have the same feeling, Jared? I know most of the world did because I tweeted about it, not realizing everybody was going to tweet about it.
Yeah. I absolutely had the same feeling. It was the first time in a long time that I was actually pumped up to watch a pregame show. I would say that I haven't actually watched any pregame show on any of the networks in 5-10 years. I don't even know how long, but I was excited for that one last night. I loved the little featurette that they did right at the start of the game of all of the older players, or first of all, the younger players saying they had no memories of the NBA on NBC, and then the older players talking about the new age basketball players. I thought was great. I love that they brought the starting lineups back on TV, something I have been complaining about for a decade at this point. I thought the pregame show with Melo and Tracy and Vince was great. I loved the presentation all night. I'm very happy we got the NBA on NBC back.
The what I would say is this felt like a big deal. In the way ESPN did not make the finals feel like a big deal at times, right? This felt like listen, we're sickos, you and I. We're freaks, right? But this felt like a big deal to everybody. Right, I honestly it was a nice sort of feeling, I should say. And again, hearing the whole thing, the going into the starting lineups and things like that. I just wish there was one thing, just one tiny thing I wish they brought back was the montage, the voiceover, the lead into the game. You still got Bob Costas there kicking around. I wouldn't have minded a little of that. But besides that, it felt awesome. I even loved, a buddy of mine texted me this because I didn't even catch it right away. He's like, what's up with the graphics when somebody shoots a 3 or gets a dunk?
Yeah, that was awesome.
I go I loved it. I go, at first I was like, whatever. I didn't even notice it right away. And then I texted him during the second game going you know what? I love every bit of it. It makes me happy. It's just so cute and adorable. I just, you know what? I loved it. It was cute. little things like that. Like it's maybe some of this is because we've been beaten down so much by ESPN over the years of their presentation and how frustrated we've been. Anything just slightly better would make us feel it was a bigger moment, but it felt like a big moment.
It was great, man. They made it feel substantial is the biggest thing to me, and that is something that we've desperately needed for a long time.
Now, NBC, don't get lazy. You just did one day.
Yeah.
Don't get lazy. I want this. You got to bring the juice all year, right? And with all of that stuff, and we'll see how that stuff goes with everything. I don't really have much notes on that other than that was great. Do you want to just get into the games?
Absolutely, man. Let's do it.
Well, ring ceremony night. Not night. The rings are, of course, gaudy as all hell, and a ring within the ring is something else. But we got to say, the Rockets and the Thunder gave us a hell of a start to the season. A double overtime thriller that was just, I was blown away with the game. Where do you want to go with this first?
It was just a heavyweight slugfest, like just throwing haymakers back and forth at each other throughout the game. Other than the Thunder missing like a bunch of wide open threes and then Amen Thompson being gifted wide open threes and not hitting them, I thought it was just an extraordinarily well played game on both sides of the ball from both teams. And even guys that started slowly, like Shea, came on at the end. You had the hot starts from Chet, from KD. I thought Amen, despite the missed threes, played really, really well. Cason Wallace, I think, is like the biggest thing that stood out to me. Like his defense was unbelievable throughout the entire game, whether it was the steals or guarding Durant in the post on occasion, or doing the right thing when sagging off Amen Thompson and still being able to help out on shooters, or just getting all up in Reed Shepherd's grill. Like everything he did defensively was incredible, particularly in that comeback that they had to cut the lead from, I think, 12-4 in the third quarter. The defense in the fourth quarter was unbelievable. He made some good plays on the offensive side of the ball. And then something that stood out to me for the Rockets was, and I had this in my 3 things I noticed on opening night, was the power that Şengün was playing with offensively. I thought he looked different, maybe not looked different physically, but played with a different level of physicality than we saw from him last year, even though he was already a big and strong dude. I thought the way he was powering through guys, whether it was Chet or Caruso or whoever they had in front of him, was just really, really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. Let's start with just Şengün. Or just with the Rockets in general. He's their best playmaker, period. Full stop. And that's something they're going to have to figure out. Like, when you're talking the Rockets with the Fred VanVleet injury, everybody with the blessing in disguise with it, and how Amen Thompson, I agree, long term. But in the short term, that's going to be a lot of pain. And that's what we saw tonight with Amen, in that sense of, like, there were moments where he had flashes, he had 5 assists, he had nice, stuff there, but you saw how bad the spacing gets on the floor. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just tough. And it just, when Şengün has it, it's a little bit different because he gets it in different spots too, and he opens up opportunities for other guys with that. I agree with you with the force. I think that's stuff that he kind of learned when he was playing in Eurobasket. I know nobody but maybe me watched Eurobasket here in the States. But, like, that was something you kind of saw the physicality kind of come through. And you remember, he's still a pretty young player. Mm-hmm. And that's an important thing.
24?
Yeah, like, there's still, like, growth in his game with where he's going to go. I mean, 5 of 8 from 3, 39 points. Like, this was a hell of a night from him. Like, the end-of-game play that they ran, it was a tough shot that he had to make over Lou Dort, but he got a decent look in the end of the fourth quarter. End of first overtime to tie the ball game. They have Caruso on him. He bullies Caruso. Caruso does a good job, gets to stop. He still gets the offensive rebound and putback because Caruso's still small. And again, goes to your point with the force and everything that they have. You got to run everything through him. After one game, I've kind of like, I don't know what we can do with this. I do want to talk about Reed Shepherd in a second, but as good as and give Amen Thompson reps, but you got to run everything through Şengün.
Yeah, I do think that it will be different against teams that are not the Thunder. Like, I think you can run more through Amen against teams that are not this Oklahoma City team. But obviously, primarily, it's got to be Şengün. Like, Amen did still have his moments. They were talking about it on the broadcast. Like, why is Kason Wallace not pressuring Amen Thompson full court? And then as soon as he did it, he just went right by him to get to the basket.
That was a nasty hesitation. It was a right? Like, that was nasty.
He had a couple more of those where he would use his body to get into the lane. It's not like he was bad, you know.
Don't confuse my criticism for me thinking Amen Thompson was bad in this game, right? Yeah. It was just where the offense needs to operate, I think, is going to be more through Şengün.
Yeah, I will say that it was very apparent early, like, this is not going to be easy for them to initiate the offense. Like, on the first 3 possessions of the game, they were running up against the shot clock in each of them, and I was just like, all right, this is not going to be fun throughout the game against this defense. And it really wasn't, but they did an admirable job of getting into offensive stuff anyway, I thought, until the overtimes when things became a little bit more difficult for them, and it was just like, all right, Şengün, go do stuff for us, and that was really the only offense.
Yeah. Let's talk Reed Sheppard, and then we can focus a little bit on Oklahoma City, and we should probably talk a little Kevin Durant, not bad player on that team. I don't see a situation where Reed can just bring the ball up the court on a regular basis against NBA players. Like, there was a sequence against, I think it was Mitchell, on him, right? And, like, as soon as they kicked the ball to him in the half court, in the backcourt, Mitchell ran up on him, almost stole it, picked his pocket right there. And then Sheppard, just kind of in panic mode, dribbles in, takes a fadeaway elbow jumper, like at least created a shot for himself, but didn't run any offense, couldn't get them into any offense. I can see Reed Sheppard being more of a off-ball kind of spot-up shooter for them, mm-hmm. But I can't see him being a guy that's going to bring the ball up the court against regular NBA defense. And I get it, too. It's the Thunder. Everybody that comes off the bench is an unbelievable defender. But I think it's going to be a hard run for him if you just think he's going to be a guy that can initiate offense for us.
Yeah, he looked erratic when he had the ball. He looked like he didn't trust his handle against the hyenas that he was going against. Defensively, he looked much more comfortable playing away from the ball and off of Şengün at the top of the key. He had a nice three-pointer where Şengün drew help from his man, kicked it out to him, hit a 3 on the right wing. The bigger concern, obviously, was defensively, where the Thunder, every single time he was on the court, they were just like, we're going right at this guy. And it became apparent very quickly why he didn't play a lot under Ime Udoka last year, because Ime is really not going to put you on the floor unless you could play defense, and he did not look like he could play defense against this team.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard, like, defensively, and I just think that it's a tough position to put him in. When you look at the fact that he barely played last year, and now we're throwing him straight into the fire. And this is probably me being more of a dick than anything else. This is more aimed at all the media people who are like, they're going to be fine. Reed Sheppard's going to, Amen Thompson and Reed Sheppard will be able. And I always like, Reed's going to be able to handle that. Like, we barely saw him last year. So there's all that. KD was awesome up until his 6th foul. Jared, that was such a critical play. He had him bottled up, and he bites on that fadeaway pump fake. Oh. Yeah,
it was really good defense for about 5.5 seconds, and then he bites on it. And to be honest, like, I get biting. It really did look like Shea was going up once he turned around, but you're 7 feet tall. You don't have to bite. Just put your arms up and make the dude hit the shot over you. I thought also in the fourth quarter and the overtimes, he had a little bit of trouble getting open away from the ball, and that made the offense much more Şengün dependent than it had been through the first 3 quarters of the game. Like, through the first 3 quarters, there was a lot of KD in his office at the elbows and at the nail getting into the mid-range stuff, and there was not a lot of that at all in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Yeah, and it was tough, man. Like, they give the Thunder credit. They really clamped down, in the fourth quarter and in the 2 overtimes. I thought there's a possibility we were getting a third. I thought we might not even watch the Laker-Warriors game. We're just gonna keep getting overtimes.
I will
that game
say
was
too, just quickly on that front. Shout out NBC/Peacock. The game was available on Peacock when I woke up this morning, and no commercials
just straight through it
on the Peacock stream, just straight through game action.
That's
The only way it could be better is if they cut all of the like between whistles stuff, where it's like the ball goes out of bounds and then you have like 20 seconds before the ball gets inbounded. Cut that out too. Cut out the
Jared,
free throws.
You're asking for a whole lot now.
Minutes.
Now you're just asking for synergy. Like that's not really like you're asking a whole lot here. Okay, be happy there were no commercials. Just deal with that. Like just take the win and leave. Okay,
I appreciate the win, but we could get these games on there in an hour instead of like an hour and 45 or hour 50 minutes.
Jared, I hate you. Oh, jeez.
Only people like me care about this, but
take the win.
People like me.
Take the win. Take the win you got. Don't let them turn to you and go, "Oh, okay, well here are the commercials then." If you're going to just be ungrateful, here are the commercials. Okay, don't be that guy. All right. Let's slide over to the Thunder because I found it fascinating. Chet Holmgren shot out the game out of like a cannon. Like it was phenomenal. It was kind of what we talked about where I felt like this is the year we're going to see Chet do a lot more. And he really did a lot to start the game, and it was pretty impressive. It was all sorts of ways. You know, his movement off ball I thought was great. He had to start the game a back cut when the Rockets defense didn't really get matched up properly and got a bucket. He had an opportunity where off of, I think it was Hartenstein, hit somebody underneath the rim. He circles around and gets a jumper out of it, hits one off a baseline jumper. He had a possession where he was bringing the ball up the court. Like, he kind of flashed everything that we can expect from Chet on the offensive end. I was really impressed with not just the game, but the aggression that he had to start the game.
Definitely. And he did a really good job of when the Rockets went zone, getting into the middle of that zone, because early on, for the first 3 quarters, basically, they were able to get everyone inside the zone except for Shea. Like, Chet was getting inside the zone. Hartenstein was getting inside the zone a little bit. Wallace was getting inside the zone. A.J. Mitchell got inside it a few times. But Chet, particularly early on, he got a couple of jumpers from that, like, in between the front 2 guys and ahead of the middle guy area. One of them went in, and I think one of them, maybe he passed it out, and it was a missed 3. But he did a really good job of that as well, and that was something that they really needed because it was a struggle early on to get Shea through the front of that zone just because of the size that was there, and he didn't necessarily figure out how to attack Amen particularly until later in the game.
Yeah, and part of me felt like Shea was testing him through the first half. It's the Velociraptors testing the fence. And then eventually, they find the weak point and break through. And I think that's kind of why I looked at it with Shea in this game. Like, he started out slow, and it was important in the sense of like, hey, let's get Chet going early. We had no J-Dub. Let's make sure we're rolling and get our guy going quickly. And then after that, then Shea takes over in the second half. And he was just marvelous. Shot incredibly poorly from 3. The whole team did. But 1 of 9 from 3 is a pretty big... the
one that he hit was huge, though, to put him up in the... I can't remember if it was the first or... I think it was the first overtime where they put them up by 3, and then Chet hit one to put them up by 6, but then Houston came back to obviously tie the game anyway. But in the moment, it was huge.
It felt big in the moment, and it was a
back over.
God, who was it?
I can't remember who it was. It might have been KD.
But it was big moments in that sense. Got to the line 14 times. It's impressive. Again, he just continues. By the way, folks who want to complain and already do the merchant foul stuff and things like that, those are fouls. Like,
and
a good
it
number.
Wasn't until late in the game that he was getting to the foul line too. It was not a lot early on. I think it was
once he started pushing the agenda. Once he started pressing the issue, then the fouls came and it got him to the line. Like, I think that's kind of something we have to acknowledge a bit in that sense. I had a problem with Amen Thompson's defense on Chet in the fourth quarter on that last possession where he ties it up. and gets to his spot, that little like mid-range jumper right there, that little pull-up.
You know who else had a problem with it? Ime Udoka. He was pissed. You can see that on the broadcast.
I actually missed that, so me and Ime are on the same page. You got to press up on him if you're Amen Thompson. Don't let him get to the spot. I felt like he was too soft defensive. You have so much length with you as a team. Like, press up on him and trust that your teammates got your back behind you. Like, it was too easy for Shea to get into his rhythm dribble right into it. And even though it was a good contest, it's not enough. Like, this dude's freaking the MVP for a reason. Just absolutely bonkers and phenomenal stuff across the board. And, I mean, Jared, this freaking league already, like this game, double overtime. I'm sure there's points we've missed, but we do kind of got to move on. Do you have any Chris Youngblood thoughts?
I don't. There was another guy that played for the Thunder in the first half that I hadn't really heard of before, like Barnheiser or something.
Yeah, Brooks Barnheiser.
Like yeah, I do want to shout out too quickly before we move on to the late game. AJ Mitchell had a big first half in particular that helped keep the Thunder attached in the game. He had a strong game.
You know what, and actually was solid. 3 for 6 from 3, solid defensively, like I talked about with the Reed Shepherd play. You're right. I'm glad you brought him up. Just a strong sort of thing. Remember, they threw him in the finals in one game just randomly, where everybody was like, "What the hell?" And then that's when I was like, "Oh, this guy might actually be something for them in the future if you're going to throw him out in the finals." And game 1, still a lot there. Thunder looked like the Thunder. Rockets looked a little better than I thought. Were better than I thought they would be. I thought this had a chance to be at least like a comfortable win for the Thunder.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily expect like a blowout or anything, but I did expect Houston to struggle maybe a little bit more offensively, even though it wasn't the cleanest game offensively, but running everything through Şengün and the game that he had allowed them to be more effective than I thought they would be against the Oklahoma City defense. And obviously, like, they send the game to double overtime in Oklahoma City on ring night. You know, it's wildly impressive. And they looked like a team that belonged on the same court with OKC. Obviously, no Jalen Williams, so it's a little bit different than you would expect, but they looked like for sure that they belonged out there with them.
Yeah, I agree with you in that sense. All right, let's go to the late game. It's the late game. We got to it late because the double overtime game. Jared, you drive the car here on this one. Where do you want to go with this?
You want to start with Kuminga because he started. I was a little bit surprised by that. It felt like, or I thought that they were going to start Al Horford. I think he started a couple of the preseason games, if I'm remembering correctly. And Kuminga starts. I thought he played really well. He had a stretch in the third quarter where he hit like 3 threes, and they were talking, oh my God, Jonathan Kuminga's got 4 threes. It's already tied for his career high. He had 6 assists. He rebounded really well. I thought like Luka wound up having a monster game with 43 points on only 27 shots, but I didn't think Kuminga got like destroyed. Like there were a few times where he had his body too close to Luka and he gave up free throws because of it. And like, you just gotta know better than that because Luka is just going to bounce off you and get those fouls every single time. But I thought that he did a good job for the most part of sticking around him and not necessarily making things difficult, but not making it easy.
Let me put it to you this way. Kuminga blew me away in this game. Especially on the offensive end, but 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. It was pretty much like hey, I really deserve the bigger contract type performance. Now, this is just one game, all that stuff. But if he plays at that level, if this is the Jonathan Kuminga they get all season, like they're picking up the team option, they can, they're keeping him, all that stuff, because that takes the Warriors to another level. Because I thought he was dangerous as all hell. We saw it in that third quarter. 3 threes. I thought he was moving well without the ball. I thought he was more in tune with the offense, was looking for guys. Like he kind of almost was like as if everything clicked into place and he understood the Warriors' offense and strategy and how to play. I think Steve Kerr gave him a longer leash as well, so there wasn't a lot of looking over his shoulder when he did make a mistake or whatnot. Listen, guarding Luka's guarding Luka. Like, that's always going to be... Luka's hard for everybody, so it is what it is. He didn't get abused, but it's as tough as it's going to be in that sense.
It's funny that he didn't get abused and Luka still had 43 points.
Here's the thing. We'll talk about Luka in a second, but he gave it to everybody. Like, we'll talk about Luka a little bit later. Just focusing on Kuminga right now. I loved everything I saw from his game. Really, the whole way through. And the most important thing, and I think the stuff that was everybody's been complaining about Kuminga, and especially Steve Kerr and stuff like that, was like almost like he was on a different plan than everybody else. Mm-hmm. This game, this moment, he was on the same page. I'm not kidding. If that stays, if that's the Kuminga they get all year, I have to change my opinion on the Warriors, because that wasn't what I was expecting.
It looked like he was actually integrated into the rest of the offense, which, like you said, is not something that it's looked like for the significant majority of his career, where it's like everybody's running the system, and then we also have Kuminga. It looked like he was part of the system and getting his stuff within the flow of the offense and playing with everybody else. Like, the 6 assists, to me, might have been the most impressive thing, because that's not something that you would necessarily see from him in the past. And being able to, like I said, move within the flow of the offense and find the other guys in addition to them finding him. Like, for the most part in his career, he's been a play finisher, you know?
Right.
But playing within the flow, finding other guys, being integrated into the flow, like, that is, I don't know if it fully changes my opinion on the Warriors for this year. Like, it's still just one game. But if you, like you said, if we see that consistently throughout the year, he's playing at that level, playing with that freedom as well, like you said, where it didn't seem like he was looking over his shoulder like he was going to get pulled if he made one mistake. And it's not like there were no mistakes in the game, you know? Like, in the past, I think if he had those body fouls on Luka, like he did a couple times in this game,
pulled the hook,
yanked.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really the case. He played, 33
minutes?
He led the team, or didn't lead the team in minutes.
Jimmy Butler got 35, but he was right in the mix. Like, it's... You know, it was just an impressive performance. Let's see how it. Again, these are also, folks, takes off of one game, right? Like, we need to see how this kind of plays out. But, like, I think this is the Kuminga the Warriors envisioned they would be able to have, and I think this is the Kuminga that if you have that, if they had this years prior, probably would have gotten paid a lot more in restricted free agency than he did. And, good on him for figuring this stuff out. Good on Kerr being a little bit more patient with him. Was really impressed with him. Shall we talk about Jimmy Butler and his 16 free throws?
Yeah, Jimmy grifting his way to the line, as always. Like, what are you going to do? There were a few of them. I think it was smart. There was one play where he flopped twice on the same play to send Jimmy to the line, so that was nice. Smart just obviously like flinging his body all over the place throughout the entire game. He had 4 fouls in like 12 minutes in the first half. But yeah, Jimmy, it was a lot of what you saw from Jimmy with the Warriors last year. Like, they did have a bunch of turnovers. They had 18 turnovers, but getting to the line 29 times and they only took 78 shots, like, that is not something that you would see from the Warriors in previous years. Like, his addition to the team and just the way it affects the possession battle for them, forcing more turnovers, for the most part last year at least, not turning the ball over as much, but especially getting to the line more often, which they need so desperately. They can't have the entire offense be built out of Steph or the Steph and Draymond chemistry. Like, they need some other injection there, and he really brought that for them.
It's not just another injection. It's more just like, it's just a totally different style. Steph goes out, and now it's Jimmy ball at that point, and it's a little more bully ball. It's a little bit more slow down. Jimmy's going to get to the line, things like that. Like, that paid off for them in a large way in this game. I thought he was awesome. Steph was Steph. It wasn't nuclear night, except that hashtag 3 that he hit that kind of sealed the game was pretty damn big. But it was just like Steph being Steph. Simple, just ho-hum, 23 points, only 4 assists. But he didn't have to, like, exert a ton of energy, I felt like, in this game, which is something you want to kind of keep an eye on.
Yeah, there were a few plays that was like vintage Steph stuff. There was I put it in my three things I noticed this morning, where there was one play where it was an ATO. He sets the back screen for Gary Payton II, gets him absolutely wide open, and Payton blows a couple of layups at the rim. Later in the quarter, he sets another back screen and then is coming to off of a pin down from Horford. They overplay it. He just goes right back door. There was another play in the first half where he runs a pick and roll with, I think it was Horford, throws the ball to the corner, cuts to the opposite side. They get the kick out to Draymond. They get right into their dribble handoff game. It's like all of this stuff has been going on for at least a decade at this point, and you're still falling asleep to all of it. But it's not really falling asleep. It's trying to pay attention to the one thing that you know is going to kill you so badly, and they just have counters to it because this is what they've been doing since at least 2015.
It's the constant movement. It's just the constant movement of Steph. I actually that play you were talking about where he had the back cut instead of taking the pin down, just reading the defense. I tweeted it out and I just kind of said, like, as much as everybody wants to be able to shoot like Steph, I want kids to learn how to move like Steph, how to read the floor and the defenses, and when to cut, when to back cut, and things like. There's just so many things that he does that just. Steph's just fun to watch play basketball. At the end of the day, like, he's one of those guys. Like, Steph's playing, cool, I'm in, no problem, I'll watch. Like, he's just so much damn fun.
There was a story I was working on years ago. It may have actually been in 2015, the first title season, where it was going to be about like everything that happens away from the ball. And I talked to Steph, I talked to Clay, I talked to JJ Redick, I talked to a bunch of other guys, and my recorder got corrupted somehow, and I lost all of the interviews before I transcribed them. And the story, like, I'm never going to get that kind of access to those guys again, where I had 5 or 6 minutes just with each of them. And it sucks.
That's the pearls of technology. Damn you, technology. All right.
You just record this stuff on your phone. You don't have to worry about
right.
that. But I had this little recorder and it broke somehow and I just lost it forever.
I can't. The devastation you must have felt like in that moment is just like, that hurts me now.
Miserable.
Yeah,
miserable.
That stays with you for a few days.
I'm still talking about it 10 years later.
Well, yeah, because it's a big freaking deal. Another guy we got to talk about for the Warriors, man, Buddy Hield. Just Buddy was awesome. 5 of 10 from 3. Hit some big shots, really where it looked like the Lakers were trying to make a little bit of a run. Buddy would come in, knock down some threes, and push the lead out. Like, the Lakers had a nice little fake comeback towards the end, but it didn't matter. It's just nice if you're the Warriors, having Buddy come in off the bench and know you have at least a reliable three-point shooter that everybody has to pay attention to.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was the third quarter or the fourth quarter when he went on a little run where he was just hitting everything. And I was just like, in my notes, I was just like, Buddy Hield is actually in flames right now. It was the fourth quarter. Yeah, because I got it right after here. So in the fourth quarter, I think he hit three or even 4 of those threes. And I was just like, all right. I mean, if you have what Steph is doing, you have Jimmy getting to the line, you have what Kuminga was doing all night, you have Draymond with one of his classic games where he has like at least 7 points, rebounds, assists, but not more than 10 in any of them. I feel like he leads the history of the league in those games where he's like 8, 7, and 9, which is what he had last night. And then you also bring Hield off the bench and hit a bunch of threes. Like you said, having that injection of another guy that can shoot from the outside is just so massive for them, whether it's going to be Hield or Podziemski or Moody when he's healthy. Like, you need another one of those guys that can come in and knock the shots down.
Yeah, it just changes the complexion of the game. And then when he's on the floor with Steph, you're just like, fuck me. Like, it's just brutal with all that stuff defensively. Let's take a look at the Lakers, because there was some good, there was some bad. And, we'll kind of discuss it. Luka was freaking awesome. He didn't shoot the ball well from 3. 2 for 10 from 3, which we kind of see that from Luka from time to time, where it's just like he just has runs where he's not making the 3 ball.
he was 2 for 10 from 3, but he was 15 for 17 from 2.
Yeah, that's the thing that's ironic, right? Like he just anything inside the arc, he got whatever he wanted. He was pretty
wherever he wanted was the big key. And one of the things that you might have had a little bit of a worry about with him dropping all the weight was the physicality that he had is part of what allowed him to get to whatever spots that he wanted to on the floor. And that did not look like something that affected him, at least on opening night. He was still able to do it as skinny Luka.
Yeah, and they put length on him. They put Kuminga was on him most of the night. Like they were able to he was able to handle it easily. I'm not kidding when I say it was pretty easy for him. There was one play late in the fourth quarter where it's like he got stopped by Kuminga at the along the baseline, and there's the little guy. I love that dog. He got stopped along the baseline by Kuminga. Kuminga kind of stands him up. He just kind of muscles his way around Kuminga and gets the layup. And Kuminga kind of looks around going like, is that not an offensive foul? I didn't think it was an offensive foul, but just the way he was able to use his body to move him around, not worried about the weight loss. He looked great. I thought it was impressive. The thing that stood out to me more than his 43 points, his 12 rebounds, his 9 assists, he was competing defensively. Doesn't mean he was good defensively, but he was fighting his ass off on defense. And I thought, like, right away, I was like, okay, like, if this is the defensive effort you get from Luka Doncic all year, you're going to be fine. I think you're going to be okay with his defense. I don't know if you're going to be fine defensively as a team. Stuff we'll discuss. But that's a massive plus for the Lakers if you get that kind of effort from him defensively.
There was a play, I think, in the second quarter where there was a switch where Ayton got trapped on an island against Steph and did like a pretty decent job for 5 seconds or so before letting Steph get by him. Steph finds Horford under the rim, and Luka rotates over to make the help side block. And I was like, well, that is not something that we've seen from him before, because he usually just doesn't make the rotation and lets the guy shoot the layup. And at that point, I was like, all right, you're locked in tonight.
But it wasn't even just that. It was because that was a play that led to like a Marcus Smart layup. But it wasn't even that. It was just competing defensively. In the fourth quarter, he was on Jimmy Butler. Now, granted, some of that has to do with LeBron being out and matchups and whatnot. Now, Jimmy drove by him, but he gave a little bit of a fight, and Jimmy beat him. And he's going to get beat. He's not going to be good defensively in the way of like he's going to be a lockdown defender. We knew he always had it in him. No, he's going to get beat in those things. But the fact there was fight is something we haven't seen often. One of the reasons why the Mavs traded him, right, was their biggest complaint. And I thought this was a very interesting thing to just keep an eye on the defensive effort from Luka. That block on Horford. Like, let's see how this kind of evolves. The thing that worried me, game 1, 41 fucking minutes.
And he looked gassed.
They
were pointing it out on the broadcast, which he played the entire third quarter and started the fourth. And I was like, all right, we don't need to do this in game 1. I remember complaining about this the Knicks started last season with Mikal Bridges playing the entire first and third and then starting the second and fourth. And I was like, you just don't need to do this. Like, first of all, you should never do that. Maybe in the playoffs you could do that. Guys playing more than 12 consecutive minutes, I think, is crazy. And to do that in the fourth quarter, and then they brought in Reeves for him. I would have just started Reeves in the fourth quarter and just not have Luka out. He was gassed.
I don't mind a guy playing a full quarter, but you're right in that you can't start him the next quarter. You need to give him the breather in that sense. I think that's the important aspect there. So that's a thing that's going to be concerning. I know, again, with no LeBron, things are going to be different, rotations or whatnot. You can't burn him out early in the season because there's no LeBron. You just can't.
I'm okay with a guy playing like 41 minutes as a one-off in a game, even in the regular season. But
it just worries me, game 1, that this is something we're going to see with LeBron out. Like, because it is, the offense does get scary when Luka's off the floor. Like, your options offensively get real rough with all of that stuff. What else did you see? Let's be a little bit positive here. because I'm going to be very negative at the end. But let's be a little bit positive.
I'll be negative with you as well at when you get to the point that I know you're going to make. I thought after a rough start, Austin Reeves looked pretty good. Like he wound up with 26 points, 9 assists, got to the line 10 times. So that was encouraging to see. The minutes without Luka, like you said, were still somewhat rough, but a continuation of last year where whenever Luka was on the floor, Reeves gets favorable matchups and good looks.
Yeah, and I think, again, Reeves looked good. Rui hitting 3 threes was big. I mean, still need a little bit more. Their three-point shooting was awful. I mean, it is what it is. This is the Laker team right now with what they have. I liked what we saw a little bit from Jake LaRavia.
He looked, by the way, he looked like 3 inches taller somehow.
Didn't he? I felt like something was weird. I was like, is this the NBC camera or is this like?
I don't know what it was. It was the uniform or the sleeves or what. He looked like, I was like, isn't he like 6'7"?
Yeah, yeah, okay. So I wasn't alone in that. In my own head, I was like, maybe I'm just going crazy. You know, this all the cold medicine. Listen, Marcus Smart, 4 fouls in the first half. Finishes with only 4 fouls. Like, I appreciate the effort, but like, we're at the point I think he's going to hurt somebody with him just like he's just
he tried
flying.
to hurt Steph with one of those fouls.
Where
he lifted up and they reviewed it for the flagrant foul.
I actually thought that was the right call because the way he kind of twisted that, it was almost like you could have dislocated Steph's shoulder. And I'm telling you, Marcus, if you did that in game 1, I'd have drove my ass over to crypto and I'd have had some words for you. I'd have had some words for you at a distance because you could probably kick my ass, but I would have had some words for you.
Probably? You think you could probably kick your ass?
Trying to give myself a little bit of love here. Can I just say this? I'm kind of out on Jared Vanderbilt.
Vando. There was a couple of plays where what did he take, 2 threes in the game, and both of them were like, oh my god level, I never want to see that again threes. There were a few possessions in a row where I wrote like Luka in the pick and roll, kicks out to the opposite side. Well, that 3 wasn't even close. One of them was from Vando, and I was like, I really never want to see that ever again. I
don't know. I get it. He's supposed to be their defensive guy on the wing and coming off the bench, and I didn't even see that. Like, I just don't feel like there's that. I'm kind of just done with the Vando experiment. The Vando hive can come at me, all 4 of you. Like, it's not like I'm not too. I'm kind of just done with it.
There's a difference, I think, between being a combo forward and being a tweener. Like, a combo forward is a guy who can play multiple positions, and a tweener is a guy who you think can play one position or the other, but kind of is caught in between, which is why they call it a tweener. Like, is he a big wing or is he a 4-5? And it seems like he might just be neither.
That's the truth of it. It's exactly that. All right, let's go. Oh wait, no, one more thing. At crunch time, I know it'll be different when they have LeBron on the floor because it won't be Gabe Vincent. But those in the early right now with Gabe, that hurt them a lot. Gabe didn't give them a lot this game, offensively or defensively. I thought he kind of really struggled in trying to find his place. Defensively, it really kind of screws up the matchup because then you have Luka on Jimmy Butler instead of trying to hide him on like Gary Payton down the stretch and things like that. I think there's a lot of issues there for them with that area. This roster, I'm not going to lie to you, kind of sucks.
Without LeBron, it looks a lot different. I'm a little bit more confident when you have him out there instead of Vincent. Like the LeBron, Reeves, Luka, Ayton, Rui lineup, in theory, works really well offensively. Defensively, going to have some issues. But in theory, when you have the 3 of those guys out there, you have Rui as a shooter, you have, like, if you can get the best version of Ayton, which we'll talk about, which we're both, I think, skeptical on, and we'll talk about a little bit in a second. But in theory, that should work really well offensively. But the rest of the roster, like, what do they have coming off the bench? Laravia, Hayes, Smart, Vando, and then I guess you bring Vincent off the bench too, or you never know if he's even going to get minutes when LeBron comes back.
Yeah, it's tough without LeBron. I think this team. I will feel differently about this team when we see a fully healthy LeBron out there. I want to just point out something. Sciatica nerve, that does take a while. That's not an easy thing, and that can flare up. Just so everybody understands that. This is what happens when you're in your 40s.
We don't know that he's going to be back in 5 games. That's not something that we know.
This could be a month. This could be 2 months. It could take a long time to sort this out. Back issues are incredibly tough, and they're talking about a pinched nerve in your back. It's hard. All right. You brought it up kind of a little bit. I don't remember which podcast it was, but I came on here and I told you I was really pissed off that Deandre Ayton was a Laker. A lot of people, look, Luka will make him better, this and that. All you really need from him is 16 and 10 from him, or 16 and 8, excuse me, from him.
There was a lot of 16 and 8 going around. I feel like those were the numbers everyone settled on.
Everybody was settled on. And I'm not going to lie to you. This is a buddy of mine. I get to do some podcasts with him. I blame Zach Lowe because that was the number he put out there, and everybody just ran with it. Listen, okay, 5 of 7. Okay, cool. 6 rebounds. Great. 10 points. 1 block. This dude does not play with any force. Does not play with any anger, with any sort of power. There was a play. He scored on this. It was a fast break play. Reeves made a great steal. It was in the first half, I believe. Driving down the lane. Gets down the lane. Might have been the second half. Sorry, guys. Cold medicine. Drives down the lane in transition. Sees Ayton. Dumps it off to Ayton. Ayton comes in with a nice little finesse layup. That needs to be a monster dunk. You need to get the crowd going. Get them pumped up. It was in the second half when the Lakers were going on a bit of a run. Am I bitching about the fact that he made the layup instead of the dunk? Yeah, because it's the fact that he doesn't play with force. The number of times he would turn and go for a jump hook versus a dunk. You highlighted a play where he spun right into a charge. It's all of these things from him. It's incredibly frustrating. And I just want to point this part out. And this is the thing that should be. In 34 minutes, he got 16 rebounds. In
6 rebounds.
6 rebounds. Excuse me. Numbers. Okay. 6 rebounds. Jackson Hayes, in 14 minutes, got 6 rebounds. There's a level of activity that we're not getting from Ayton defensively. I know it's hard when you're on the floor with Luka and Luka's getting 12 rebounds in a game, but you got to be a little bit more active than that. In 34 minutes, 6 rebounds is not enough.
So you said he was 5 of 7 from the field. The 2 misses are everything wrong about the Ayton experience. He gets a duck in and goes up for a little half hook fadeaway instead of going up strong and either making the shot or getting himself fouled. Then he has a play where he miscommunicates with Luka on pick and roll and the ball goes out of bounds. Then he has a play where he, instead of going up for a 5-footer, spins himself right into Draymond for a charge. Then he has a play where he gets the ball in the post and takes a fadeaway jumper. I remember Noah Eagle being like, Ayton fade? No. And I was like, yep, That sounds familiar. And it was
we're gonna hear a lot of that
in a row, those 4 plays. And I was like, this is the entire theory of why I can't get on board with the Ayton experiment.
It's just not good enough. He doesn't roll hard enough. There was a thing in preseason where
Everything's a short roll. Everything is a short roll.
And that's not going to work with Luka. You need to roll. You know why? The Lakers looked better on the floor offensively in the pick and roll when Jackson Hayes' role was on the floor than with Ayton. I know that's kind of a big statement because I know how bad Jackson Hayes is, but that should highlight how bad Ayton is in the roll game when he's just going to stop at the short roll. This dude needs to roll hard to the rim. Luka's going to throw it up. He's going to dunk it. Austin Reeves talked about this in preseason. I forget when exactly. There was a quote talking about the difficulty of throwing lobs with Ayton. In that sense of they haven't found the chemistry yet. And yeah, part of it is chemistry. It's not that hard. You know what the other part of it that's important? The guy has to be near the freaking rim. Mm-hmm. For the lob. I hated it when it happened. Told you how pissed off I was pissed the moment he got bought out because I knew this dude was heading to L.A.
We both were.
It was just coming to fruition. And this is a dude who honestly has to understand. If he wants a big contract next summer, he's got to play more forcefully than this. And I just don't get it. When the Suns went to the finals, he was a force. There were still complaints from me, because, again, I'm a jerk, about him not playing with enough force at times. All of it showed out now.
Yep. I remember that video of Monty during the finals. It was like, dominate the game with force, dominate the game with force. And for a lot of, particularly the second half of that season, he was doing that. And since then, it's been back to the same stuff that we've seen. The fadeaways, the hook shots, the short rolls, not getting enough rebounds, not stepping up defensively in terms of getting in the way of guys and affecting the game at the rim. It's one game, but I wasn't optimistic, and I'm still not all that optimistic.
No, I have no faith in it. I have no faith in it. And it's, you know what? And like when LeBron's on the floor, it'll be better. Lakers will look better with LeBron on the floor and things like that. That dude, not the answer. Not the answer. I'm just gonna. I staked it before they played it. I'm staying on that hill. More than happy to be there by myself all the way to the end. But yeah, that just it's incredibly frustrating. There was a play. This is on the effort level. It was a transition play. It was in the third quarter-ish, I think. Yeah, it was third quarter. Lakers turn the ball over. It's a live ball turnover, so it's a killer. Curry's bringing the ball up the court. Reeves and Luka are both there on Curry, which is already a problem because you have two on the ball in that instance of transition. One needs to peel off. Gabe Vincent comes running in, so now we have three on the ball. Okay, when the play happened and the turnover happened, Ayton was standing next to Jimmy Butler. And I put it up on all my socials, so you can guys go check it out. Watch Jimmy sprint, Ayton jog, and Jimmy Butler gets a layup. Like, it's just, that can't happen in transition basketball. Plain and simple. And I get it. Live ball turnovers are tough. You got to run with the guy at least. Got to run with the guy. And he wasn't the only one that screwed up in that transition defense or whatnot, but at least have effort. Transition defense is usually about the first three steps. And his first three steps were very slow, and Jimmy was sprinting. And Jimmy gets a layup off a dime from Curry. Like, that's just what you're going to get from him. So I apologize, Laker fans. You're going to have to deal with that dude all season. And I'm probably going to be going off on him quite a bit. I'm sorry. I'm warning you now. I'm going to be talking about it a lot.
It's going to be a topic, I think, whenever we talk about the Lakers throughout the season. Obviously, a lot will be spent on the other guys on the team, but he is a player designed to frustrate both of us because of the things that we like about basketball and value in players. So it's going to be a topic consistently for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait till JJ goes off if he hasn't already. Like,
I remember I was talking about some of the stuff during the game. People were like, LeBron is going to kill this dude by the end of the season.
Forget LeBron. He's not going to get past JJ.
Yeah, like, JJ's head almost flew off its axis like 7 or 8 different times last year. And we talked about this. Like, I know that there was a podcast where JJ was like, he likes Ayton's game. It's not going to be the same when he's playing for him.
Everybody likes the dude when they're not on your team. I'm tired of this. This is something that happens across the board. See, now you got me in a ranting mode. This is what happens across the board, right? A dude that's coaches in particular always think I can fix the guy. I've seen it up close with coaches where I'm like, you think you can fix
skill level rather than the
problem
play? Yeah,
they don't see what they assume. Oh, that guy wasn't able to coach him right. I'll be able to do that. It's the arrogance of coaches. It happens all the time in that stuff. He said that. Luka was like, oh, I really like his game or whatever. Yeah, because you don't have to deal with his ass. Now you do. Now you do. And when you're going to start turning to him and start looking at him going like, no, man, I need you to roll to the rim and stop with the short roll. And then the next possession, when he short rolls again, you're going to be cursing at him in Slovenian. Like, I'm just telling you, like, this is going to be what? All right, I got to save it. It's game 1. We got 81 more to go. Like, I got to save it. We got a lot of stuff there. Jared, let's do it very quickly because it was a shitty week of college football for both of us. Go.
I knew I texted my brother right at the start of the game when Miami deferred on the opening kickoff against Louisville. I was like, this game's going to get annoying. Louisville marched right down the field with like 7 or 8 trick plays, including a fake field goal that, again, right before the fake field goal, I texted my brother, this is going to be a fake field goal. And Miami's defense early in the game was not prepared for what Louisville had in store. Tamped down later in the game and didn't really let them do all that much except for like one Chris Bell catch and run, with Chris Bell is an unbelievable player.
Yeah.
The bigger thing, obviously, was Carson Beck just totally self-destructing like he did a couple times last year at Georgia. 4 interceptions, had a 5th one overturned by a bullshit roughing the passer penalty that he should have had an interception on. He was very good outside of those 5 passes, but when you're very good outside of 5 interceptions, that is not good. So the only saving grace of this team is Malachi Toney is still like one of the, 5 best receivers in the country.
Seriously.
The kid is unbelievable, but it sucked.
Has he turned 18 yet? Has Malachi Toney turned 18 yet? He
did turn 18. He turned 18 the week of the Florida game, so it was like 3 weeks ago or something.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean the kid is ridiculous, and it's like at least 6 catches for 80 yards every single week. It's like I don't even know what to do with this anymore. He's a reclassified true freshman, and he's like he might be the best slot receiver in the country already. He's unbelievable, but now we're 5-1 and basically got to go 6-0 to make the playoffs throughout the rest of the season.
I think you'll make the playoffs, even if you take a second loss. You guys look like as long as it's not a stupid loss. Okay, as
Every
long
loss
as
we have is a stupid loss, though.
That's true. This is my thing, and I'll just say this about you because I watched the game. And this is always my criticism, and this is why I can't just ever get on board fully with Miami. It's Cristobal, man.
Yeah,
great recruiter, has a great job with the trenches. He's not a good coach in game. And, I'm probably not one to talk because we'll talk about my team in a second. I have one question for you, and I apologize because it's going to be kind of me. And I'm not trying. Jared, I want the best for you, bro. Okay?
Nobody hates on Miami more than Miami fans, so let's do it.
Okay, so I just is there a concern that this is going to be Carson Beck going forward? Like, is this like an implosion that okay.
Same thing with Tyler Van Dyke 2 years ago, where he was great to start the season, and then he has this 4-interception game against Georgia Tech and just completely falls apart the rest of the year with everybody playing inverted cover 2 on like every snap. And even when not pressured, he's just throwing the ball to the other team. I am definitely concerned about that happening with Carson Beck. Like, even earlier, like before this game, people were like, oh my God, Carson Beck, why isn't he more in the Heisman conversation? He was like a favorite at one point with the Heisman. And I was like, this guy is the 3rd best player on his own offense at best.
It's not even that. It's the only guy we should be talking Heisman on Miami, to be honest, is Ruben Bain. But that's we never give it to defensive linemen. But that's who should have been. That dude scared. I'm not even
Tony before Beck too.
Yeah, I'm not even. I don't have to worry about Miami, and I worry about Bain. That's the level of stuff.
I will say he and Akeem Mesidor are playing too many snaps. Like, you can't have these guys out there for 70 snaps a game. You got to be able to get the other rotational defensive linemen in there. So they're not like Akeem Mesidor was gassed and hurt by the end of the game. You can't have that.
Yep. Okay, we'll talk about my team. A few weeks ago, I made a prediction. I was wrong. Notre Dame beat us. A very frustrating game. The thing that's frustrating was we didn't play well, and we still could have won this game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They ran all over us. Jeremiah Love kicked our ass. Their O-line destroyed us. Constantly opened up big holes, big runs, all that stuff. Just run through a couple of plays. Jaden Mayava throws a pick. If he throws the ball, he threw it behind lane. If he threw it ahead of lane, that's a completion, probably a first down.
He had 2 picks, right? I can't remember the second one.
He had a second one late in the game. It was over at that point. He had one after the game. We take the lead, Jared.
Yep.
And then on the ensuing kickoff, give up the touchdown. I contend, honestly, because the momentum was right in our direction after we scored. It was a 60-yard touchdown pass to Lane, all that stuff. It was great. Everybody was hyped up. If we stop them if we don't give up the kickoff return, I think we win the game. Because there's a shot, if you look at it, where my Alpha's on the bench after scoring that touchdown drive. We're up 1. We're feeling good. He looks at the scoreboard and sees a touchdown, and you just see him just deflate. And he did that, and I just texted my buddies going like, it's over. We're not going to do it. And then I'm not one to constantly kill the coaches. And talking about coaches, Lincoln Riley killed me with some of his play calling. We settled for way too many field goals when we should have gone for it on 4th down in the red zone. His play calling on 4th down is 4th and inches, doesn't go with the QB sneak, gets cute, tries to do a tight end pass, right? Run the tight end in motion, hike it, and then try to kick it to him. Notre Dame snuffed it out right off the bat. Runs an incredibly dumb flea flicker type play, like reverse to the receiver, who then, Malachi Lemon's going to throw it downfield. That wasn't there. He fumbles the ball. It was just disaster after disaster. Bad play calling, not being able to stop the run, not the special teams, all that stuff. And then just not understanding on the road in Notre Dame as underdogs, you can't settle for 3, man. You got to go for 6. You just can't settle for 3. And our kicker's good. Like, this is our backup kicker. Our original kicker got hurt. This is our backup kicker, freshman. He kicked a 54-yarder against Michigan. Was huge. You got to go for 6, man. It was just a frustrating game to watch, and to lose to Notre Dame in what might be the last game of the season, last game of this rivalry for a while, like that. And by the way, side note, that's on Notre Dame. We gave you the what works for us. Play us in September. Your AD and coach said we'll play you anytime, anywhere. Bet. See you at the Coliseum in September, fellas.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing was the run defense, though. Like, you can't give up 8 yards of carry to the 2 running backs, And, like, Jeremiah Love still is probably the best running back in the country. He did nothing against Miami because they just didn't use him for some reason. But, I mean, when that guy goes off for 200-something yards...
He killed us.
The theory you mentioned, though, about not being able to kick field goals on the road against a really good team, that is exactly how I knew that Louisville was not kicking that field goal on the first drive of the game,
right.
Especially because it was from like the 4-yard line. Nobody's kicking that field goal.
And it was crazy because all he had to do was get the first down. Even he didn't have to score a touchdown because he got the first down. Because Miami thought they stopped him because he got to the end. He didn't get in the end zone, and it was like nobody got the first down. And then the very next play, Miller Moss, by the way, former USC, sorry, we're just fucking up your shit. So frustrating. We have the bye this week, which just sucks because now I get bored and I go on the USC message board and all I see is fire Lincoln Riley, all that stuff. A lot of people hate him. I get it. They're frustrated, all that stuff. We ain't paying the buyout that Penn State paid. We're not doing that. No. So, it's just long week for me. What do you guys have next week?
We got Stanford this week. Stanford's not good, plus the quarterback's hurt, plus like half the offensive line is hurt. Like, if we don't come out and dominate this game, I'm going to be very worried about the rest of the season. Yeah,
just hope Carson Beck doesn't. This is a good get-right game for Carson Beck. Hopefully. Good opportunity to have a good get-right. I'm going to wish the best for you, Jared. I think that's it, folks. NBA coverage today. The national games are on ESPN. If you're listening to us on Wednesday, maybe we come back. I don't know. We'll figure out our schedule. At some point, we'll go to 2 a week. It's schedule is going to be getting quite crazy for us through the course of everything. Jared, plug your stuff.
Last Night in Basketball, the newsletter, lastnightinbasketball.com, the website. I got my 3 things I noticed on opening night out there. I'll have more stuff later this week and throughout the rest of the season. And then subscribe to the podcast, youtube.com/@DoubleDribblePod. Give us the subscriptions, the ratings, the likes on Spotify, iTunes, wherever else you listen to your podcast. We'd really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you guys so much. Check out the stuff I'm doing on Offside. Make sure you go to offside.gg to sign up to be on the wait list for the app when that comes out. That's where I'm going to be posting a lot of videos. I did a breakdown last night of the end of the OKC Houston game. It just ran through, basically those end of game plays. So make sure you're checking all that stuff out when you get a chance. Follow me on all the socials. Watch NBA TV on Saturday. It's the Hawks Thunder game, but we're going to be doing kind of a pregame, halftime, and postgame show. And then on Sunday, doing the kind of the whip around game action. Whip around action. I'll get the wording right at some point, folks. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Double Dribble Podcast.
See y'all.